Okay, so I need to tell you this story because honestly, I am still processing everything that happened and I need to get it out. My name is Sarah. I am 32 years old and up until about 6 weeks ago. I had a pretty good marriage. But good. Normal. The kind of marriage where you argue about whose turn it is to take out the trash and what to watch on Netflix. Regular stuff. But I was so wrong. So incredibly wrong. Let me back up and give you some context because this is going to be a long story and trust me, you need all the details to understand how insane this situation became. I met my husband Mark 8 years ago at a mutual friend's barbecue. I was 24, he was 27. I had just finished my teaching degree and got my first job at an elementary school. He worked in finance at some big company downtown. He was charming, funny, good-looking. We hit it off immediately. We dated for about a year before he proposed. It was romantic. He took me to this nice restaurant, got down on one knee. The whole thing. I said yes, obviously. I loved him. We got married when I was 25. Small wedding, nothing crazy. Just family and close friends. We bought a house a year later in a decent neighborhood. 3 bedrooms, nice yard, white picket fence kind of thing. The American dream, right? For the first few years, everything was great. We both worked. We traveled a little. We talked about having kids someday. Normal married couple stuff. Sure, we had our issues. Mark worked long hours and sometimes he was stressed and distant. But I figured that was normal. Everyone says marriage takes work. Around here for things started to shift a little. Mark was working later and later. More business trips. More nights where he would come home exhausted and just own out in front of the TV. I tried to talk to him about it, but he always said it was just a busy time at work, that things would calm down soon. They never did. By year 6, I was starting to feel lonely in my own marriage. We barely talked anymore. We had not been intimate in months. When I brought it up, Mark would get defensive and say I was being needy. That he was working hard for our future. That I should be more understanding. So I tried to be understanding. I threw myself into my work. I spent more time with my friends and family. I told myself this was just a rough patch and we would get through it. And then came last November. It was the weekend after Thanksgiving and I decided I wanted to decorate for Christmas. I love Christmas. It is my favorite time of year. The music, the whole vibe. It makes me happy. Mark was at the office even though it was Saturday. He said he had a big project deadline. So I figured I would get the decorations down from the attic by myself and surprise him. Our attic is one of those pull-down ladder situations. Kind of cramped and dusty, but we have a bunch of storage boxes up there. I climbed up with a flashlight and started looking for the Christmas boxes. They were in the back corner like always. But as I was pulling them out, I noticed another box behind them. A plain brown cardboard box that I had never seen before. It was pushed way back against the wall behind an old chair and some bags of clothes we were supposed to donate like 2 years ago. I should have just ignored it. I should have grabbed the Christmas boxes and climbed back down and gone about my day. But I did not. Something about that box bothered me. It looked deliberately hidden, and Mark and I did not hide things from each other. At least I thought we did not. I pulled the box out. It was not that heavy. I opened it. Inside there were papers. A lot of papers. Files and documents all neatly organized in folders. And sitting right on top was a small gift wrapped in silver paper with a red ribbon. It was about the size of a jewelry box. There was a gift tag attached to the ribbon. I picked it up and read it. To Jennifer with all my love. Jennifer. Who the hell was Jennifer? I felt my stomach drop. My hands started shaking. I put the gift aside and started looking through the papers. The first folder I opened had bank statements in it. But not from our joint checking account or our savings account. This was an account I had never seen before. It was in Mark's name only, just his name, and the balance made my jaw drop. $87,342. $87,000. We had been struggling to pay off my student loans for years. We had talked about going on a vacation to Europe, but Mark always said we could not afford it. We had been putting off renovating our outdated kitchen because money was tight. We drove old cars because we were being financially responsible. And here was $87,000 sitting in a secret bank account. I felt like I could not breathe. I sat down on the dusty attic floor and just stared at those numbers. But I kept looking because I needed to understand what was happening. The next folder had printed emails. Pages and pages of printed emails. Between Mark and someone named Jennifer Lawson. I started reading then, and I felt like I was going to throw up. They were not work emails. They were love letters. Mark telling Jennifer how much he missed her, how he could not wait to see her again, how being apart from her was killing him. Jennifer responding with equally romantic messages, calling him baby, saying she loved him, talking about their future together. I flipped through them. There were dozens, going back almost 2 years. 2 years. My husband had been having an affair for 2 years and I had no idea. There was one email from about a month before I found all this. Mark wrote to Jennifer that he had already picked out her Christmas gift and he could not wait to see her face when she opened it. That this Christmas was going to be the last one he had to pretend. That next year they would spend the holidays together openly. I looked at the silver-wrapped gift sitting next to me on the floor. That was for her. I kept digging through the box because at this point, I needed to know everything. The next folder made everything so much worse. Inside were divorce papers. Already filled out. Already signed by Mark. Just waiting to be filed with the court. He was planning to divorce me. The papers were dated for early January. He was going to file them right after the holidays. But that was not even the worst part. Attached to the divorce papers was a property assessment for our house. The house we bought together. The house I thought we would grow old in. The assessment valued the house at $420,000. We still owed $160,000 on the mortgage. That left $260,000 in equity. There was a sticky note in Mark's handwriting stuck to the assessment. It said my half equals $130K. Transfer to account ending in 78 for 3 immediately after filing. I checked the bank statements again. Account ending in 78 for 3 was the secret account with the $87,000. He had been planning this. He had been moving money into that account for months, maybe longer. He was going to divorce me, force me to sell the house, take his half of everything, and disappear into his new life with Jennifer. And I had been completely clueless. I sat in that attic for probably 2 hours just going through everything again and again, reading the emails, looking at the bank statements, staring at the divorce papers with his signature already on them. I felt so many things at once. Devastated, betrayed, humiliated, so incredibly angry, but also stupid. How had I not seen this? How had I missed all the signs? I started thinking back over the last 2 years. All the late nights at work. All the business trips. The times he was distant and cold. The way he pulled away when I tried to be affectionate. The way he started arguments over nothing like he was looking for excuses to be mad at me. It all made sense now. He was checked out of our marriage because he had already moved on to someone else. I do not know how long I sat there. Eventually, I heard the garage door open. Mark was home. I quickly took out my phone and I photographed everything. Every single page. Every email. Every bank statement. The divorce papers. The note about the house. The gift tag on Jennifer's present. Everything. Then I carefully put it all back exactly how I found it. I wrapped the gift back up. I put all the folders back in order. I closed the box and pushed it back into the corner behind the chair. Mark could not know that I knew. Not yet. I needed time to think. Time to plan. I grabbed the Christmas boxes and climbed down from the attic just as Mark walked into the hallway. Hey babe, he said. He kissed me on the cheek like everything was normal. Like he was not planning to destroy my entire life in a few weeks. What are you up to? Just getting the Christmas decorations down, I said. My voice sounded weird to my own ears, but he did not seem to notice. Oh, cool, he said. Want help setting them up? No, I said. Fine, he said. Busy. I am going to take a shower. He went upstairs and I stood there in the hallway holding a box of Christmas ornaments and trying not to scream. That night I could barely eat dinner. Mark did not notice. He was on his phone the whole time anyway. Probably texting Jennifer. I excused myself early and went to bed. I pretended to be asleep when Mark came to bed an hour later. He did not try to cuddle or anything. He just turned away from me and went to sleep. I laid there in the dark next to my husband and I felt like I was sleeping next to a stranger. This man who I had loved for 8 years. Who I had built a life with. He was lying to me every single day. And he was planning to ambush me with divorce papers right after Christmas. I barely slept that night. I kept thinking about what to do. Part of me wanted to confront him immediately. To throw all those papers in his face and scream at him. To kick him out of the house right then and there. But another part of me knew that would be stupid. If I confronted him now, he would just move up his timeline. He would file for divorce immediately. And I would have no time to protect myself. No, I needed to be smart about this. The next morning after Mark left for work, I called in sick to my school. I told them I had the flu. Then I started making phone calls. First I called my best friend Rachel. I told her everything. She was shocked. She started crying. She wanted to come over, but I told her not yet. I needed to handle some things first. Then I looked up divorce lawyers. I read reviews. I made a list of the top 3 in the area. I called the first one. Her name was Rebecca Chen and her reviews said she was aggressive and thorough. She had a consultation available that same afternoon. I went to her office at 2 o'clock. It was in a tall building downtown. Professional, expensive looking. Rebecca was maybe 45 years old. Short dark hair, sharp suit. She looked like someone who did not take any crap from anyone. I sat down in her office and I told her everything. I showed her all the photos I had taken, the emails, the secret account, the divorce papers he had already prepared, the house assessment. She looked through everything carefully. She did not seem shocked or even surprised. I guess she had seen this kind of thing before. When she was done looking, she sat back in her chair and looked at me. Okay, she said. First of all, I am sorry this is happening to you. This is a terrible situation and you deserve better. I nodded. I did not trust myself to speak. But second, she continued, your husband made several very big mistakes. Mistakes that are going to cost him a lot of money. What do you mean? She leaned forward. He hid assets. He opened a secret bank account and failed to disclose it. That is financial fraud in a marriage. He prepared divorce papers without your knowledge. He has been systematically moving marital funds into his private account. All of this is illegal. So what does that mean for me? I asked. It means we can bury him, she said bluntly. If he files for divorce, he is legally required to disclose all assets and all accounts. If he does not disclose that secret account, we can prove he hid it, which we can because you have bank statements. He will be held in contempt of court. He could lose his share of the marital assets entirely. At minimum, he will face serious penalties. What about the affair? I asked. Does that matter? She sighed. We are in a no-fault divorce state, so technically adultery is not grounds for divorce and does not affect asset division. However, it absolutely matters in terms of character. It shows a pattern of deception. And judges are human, they notice these things. It can influence their decisions on other matters. So what do I do? You have 2 options, Rebecca said. You can wait for him to file and then respond aggressively. Or you can file first and catch him completely off guard. What is better? Filing first is almost always better, she said. You control the narrative. You set the terms. And in this case, you have the element of surprise. He thinks you have no idea what is coming. But you know everything. You can hit him before he is prepared. I thought about it. Part of me wanted to wait. To see if maybe I was wrong about something. Maybe there was an explanation. But I knew there was not. I had seen the evidence. The emails were clear. The divorce papers were signed. This was real. How long do I have? His papers are dated for early January. Rebecca said, if you want to file first, I would recommend doing it right after New Year's. Give yourself the holidays to prepare. Gather any additional evidence you can. Document everything. Then we strike. I hired her that day. It cost me $2,000 just for the retainer, but I did not care. I needed someone on my side who knew what they were doing. Over the next few weeks leading up to Christmas, I became a completely different person. On the outside, I was the same Sarah. Decorating the house for the holidays. Buying gifts. Acting like everything was normal. But on the inside, I was cold. Calculating. I was gathering evidence. When Mark was at work, I went through everything in the house. I found his laptop in his home office. He had not logged out. I went through his emails. I found hundreds more messages between him and Jennifer. I forwarded them all to my personal email account. I found messages between Mark and his friend Tyler. In those messages, Mark was bragging about his plan. He told Tyler that I was completely clueless, that I had no idea what was coming, that by next summer he would be living with Jennifer and I would still be trying to figure out what happened. Tyler asked if Mark felt bad about any of it. Mark responded, not really. I have not been happy for a long time. This is just the smart way to handle it. If I told her the truth now, she would fight me for everything. This way I get out clean with half of everything. She does not see it coming until it is too late. Get out clean. I screenshot that message and sent it to Rebecca. I also went through Mark's phone one night when he was in the shower. He thought he had it password protected, but I knew his passwords. He used the same ones for everything. His text messages with Jennifer were even worse than the emails. More personal, more explicit, talking about their future together. About the life they were going to build. There were texts about a condo. Jennifer had apparently found a place she loved and Mark said he was going to buy it for them. I looked up recent transactions on the secret bank account. Sure enough, there was a wire transfer from 6 weeks earlier. $50,000. Down payment on a property. He had bought a condo. For him and Jennifer. With our money. Money that came from both of our paychecks. Money we had saved together for our future. He had stolen it and used it to buy a love nest for his mistress. I took screenshots of everything. I forwarded everything to Rebecca. I also started documenting our daily life. I kept a journal of every time Mark lied to me about where he was doing. Every late night at work that I suspected was actually time with Jennifer. Every argument he picked for no reason. I also looked up Jennifer on social media. I know I probably should not help myself. I needed to see who this woman was who was destroying my marriage. She was 27 years old. 5 years younger than me. She worked in marketing at some startup downtown. She was pretty in that Instagram influencer kind of way. Perfect makeup. Perfect hair. Lots of photos of herself at trendy restaurants and bars. She had posted a photo from about 3 months earlier at some kind of work event. And there in the background, partially hidden by a plant but definitely visible, was Mark. So he was not even being that careful. He was going to public events with her. He just assumed I would never find out. I showed that photo to Rebecca. She added it to the file. I also did some investigating into our finances beyond what Mark had hidden. I pulled copies of all our bank statements from our joint account going back 3 years. I made spreadsheets tracking every deposit and every withdrawal, and I found a pattern. For the last 2 years, Mark had been slowly transferring money out of our joint account. Not huge amounts at once. A few $100s here, 1,000 there. Transfers that looked innocent. Moving to savings, he would say. But the money was not going to our joint savings. It was going to the secret account. He had stolen over $30,000 from our joint account over 2 years. Money that my paychecks had contributed to. He was literally stealing from me month after month, and I had not noticed because the amounts were small enough to seem normal. Rebecca filed all of this away. She said we were building an airtight case. Christmas week arrived. Mark seemed extra happy, extra relaxed. He was whistling around the house, being affectionate in a way he had not been in months, buying me little gifts, acting like everything was great. I knew why. He thought his plan was almost complete. Just a few more weeks and he would file those papers and his new life would begin. He had no idea what was actually coming. On Christmas Eve, we had dinner with my parents. My mom pulled me aside at one point and said how lucky I was to have such a wonderful husband. I just smiled and nodded. I could not tell her yet. I could not tell anyone until after I filed. Rebecca had been very clear about that. That night Mark said he had to run out for a bit. Last-minute gift pickup, he said. He would be back in an hour. As soon as he left, I went back up to the attic. I opened the brown box again. I took out the silver-wrapped gift, the one for Jennifer. I carefully unwrapped it. Inside was a small black velvet box. I opened it. A key, a gold key on a delicate chain, like a necklace. There was a note folded up in the box. I opened it. Jennifer, this is the key to our future. I close on our condo the first week of January. I will file the papers on January 3rd. By Valentine's Day, we will be living together openly as a couple. No more hiding. No more pretending. Just you and me starting the life we have always dreamed about. I love you more than anything. Forever yours, Mark. I stared at that note for a long time. By Valentine's Day. He was planning to have me served with divorce papers in early January and be moved into a condo with his girlfriend by Valentine's Day. While I was still reeling from the divorce, still trying to figure out what happened, he would already be playing house with Jennifer. I took photos of the key and the note. Then I carefully rewrapped everything and put it back exactly how it was. When Mark got home an hour later, I was on the couch watching a Christmas movie. He sat down next to me and put his arm around me. I wanted to shove him away. I wanted to scream at him, but I did not. I just sat there and watched the movie and counted down the days until I could destroy him the way he was planning to destroy me. Christmas Day was torture. We opened presents. Mark gave me a nice leather purse and some expensive perfume. Thoughtful gifts that probably cost him a few $100s. Meanwhile, he had spent $50,000 of our money on a condo for another woman. I gave him some shirts and a watch. He seemed genuinely happy with them. He kissed me and thanked me. I felt nothing. We spent the afternoon at my sister's house with her family. Her kids ran around playing with their new toys. Everyone was happy and laughing. Mark played with my niece and nephew. He was great with kids. We had always talked about having kids someday. Now there would be no someday. That evening after we got home, Mark went into his office to check some work emails. I heard him on the phone talking quietly. I crept closer to the door and listened. He was talking to Jennifer. "Merry Christmas, baby. I wish I could be with you right now. I know it is hard. Just a few more weeks and we will never have to be apart again. I promise, I love you too. I cannot wait." I went back to the living room and sat down on the couch. I felt so cold inside. This man who I had loved for 8 years, who I had built a life with, who I had supported through everything, he was planning to throw me away like I meant nothing. The week between Christmas and New Year's was the longest week of my life. I could barely eat. I was not sleeping. I was having panic attacks in the middle of the night. But I kept it together during the day. I went to work. I acted normal around Mark. I counted down the hours until January 2nd. That was the day Rebecca said we would file. January 2nd. The first business day after New Year's. We would beat Mark to the punch by one day. On New Year's Eve, Mark and I went to a party at his co-worker's house. He introduced me to people, laughed at jokes. I smiled and made small talk, and inside I was screaming. At midnight, everyone counted down and kissed their partners. Mark kissed me and said Happy New Year. I said it back, but I was thinking this is the last New Year's we will ever spend together. And good riddance. On January 2nd, I woke up early. Mark was still asleep. I got dressed quietly and left the house. I met Rebecca at her office at 9 in the morning. Everything was ready. The divorce petition. The request for full financial disclosure. The motion to freeze all accounts pending discovery. The list of assets and debts. All of it. I signed everything with shaking hands. Rebecca filed it electronically with the court at 9:30. At 10 o'clock, a process server went to Mark's office building. Rebecca called me at 10:20. He has been served, she said. It is done, I said. It is done, she confirmed. Now we wait for his response. I went home. Mark was still at work. I sat in the quiet house and I felt a weird mix of relief and terror. I had done it. I had filed first. But now everything was going to blow up. My phone started ringing at 10:45. Mark calling. I did not answer. He called again. And again, 5 times in a row. Finally, I got a text. Sarah, what the hell is this? Call me right now. We need to talk. I did not respond. He called 10 more times. I turned my phone on silent and put it face down on the counter. At 2 in the afternoon, I heard the garage door open. Mark came storming into the house. I was sitting at the kitchen table waiting for him. He came in holding the divorce papers in his hand. His face was red. He looked furious. What is this? He yelled. What are you doing? I am divorcing you, Mark, I said calmly. Why? He demanded. What happened? Did someone tell you something? Who have you been talking to? I laughed. I could not help it. Are you serious right now? I asked. You want to know why I am divorcing you? Yes. This is insane, Sarah. We can work through whatever this is. We do not need to get divorced. Oh, we do not need to get divorced? I said. That is interesting. Because I found the divorce papers you already prepared and signed. The ones you were planning to file next week. His face went white. How did you? He started. Then he stopped. How did I find them? I asked. I found the box in the attic, Mark. The one you hid behind the old chair. The box with all your secret bank statements and your love letters to Jennifer and your divorce papers and your plans to steal half of everything and run away with your girlfriend. He just stared at me. His mouth opened but nothing came out. I kept going. I found everything. The secret account with $87,000 in it. The emails going back 2 years. The condo you bought with our money. The $50,000 down payment. The text where you bragged to Tyler about how clueless I am. Sarah, he said. His voice was different now. Softer. Let me explain. Explain what? I asked. Explain how you have been cheating on me for 2 years. Explain how you have been stealing money from our joint account. Explain how you were going to ambush me with divorce papers right after Christmas and take half of everything before I knew what was happening. It was not like that, he said weakly. It was exactly like that, I said. I have proof, Mark. I have copies of everything. Bank statements. Emails. Text messages. Photos. My lawyer has all of it. You lied to me every single day for 2 years. You planned to destroy my life. You just did not expect me to find out before you were ready. He sat down at the table. He put his head in his hands. I did not mean to hurt you, he said. Yes, you did, I said. You meant to hurt me in the worst possible way. You just did not want to face me while you did it. You wanted to blindside me and disappear before I could react. Sarah, please, he said. He looked up at me and I saw ears in his eyes. Can we talk about this? Can we figure something out? There is nothing to figure out, I said. I filed first. My lawyer is requesting full financial disclosure. That means you have to reveal every account, every asset, everything, including the secret account you have been hiding, including the condo you bought for Jennifer. All of it. He looked panicked. Sarah, you do not understand. Oh, I understand perfectly, I said. You committed financial fraud. You hid marital assets. You have been stealing from our joint account for 2 years. My lawyer says you are going to lose big. His hands were shaking. We can settle this, he said. We do not need lawyers. We can work this out between us. I laughed again. No, Mark, we are way past that. You should have thought about working things out before you spent 2 years lying to me. Before you bought a condo for another woman with our money. Before you planned to serve me with divorce papers and disappear. I stood up. I am staying with my sister, I said. All communication from now on goes through Rebecca. That is my lawyer. Do not call me. Do not text me. Do not show up at my sister's house. Talk to your own lawyer and have them contact Rebecca. Wait, he said. He stood up and reached for me. I stepped back. Do not touch me, I said. And I walked out. I stayed at my sister's house that night. And the next night, my sister Katie was amazing. She let me cry. She let me rage. She brought me wine and I scream in terrible reality TV to distract me. Mark tried calling about 100 times the first few days. I blocked his number. He tried emailing. I set up a filter to send his emails straight to trash. Rebecca said he had hired a lawyer. Some guy named Richard something. Rebecca said he was decent but not great. Mark's lawyer filed a response to my divorce petition 2 weeks later. They denied everything. Claimed the secret account was from a separate inheritance. Claimed the condo was a business investment. Said my allegations of an affair were baseless and vindictive. Rebecca laughed when she read it. They are going to lie, she said. That is fine. Let them lie and we will destroy them in court. She filed a motion for a forensic accounting of all of Mark's finances. The judge approved it. A forensic accountant went through everything, every account, every transaction, going back 5 years, and they found even more than I had found. Mark had not one but 3 secret accounts. The main one with $87,000, another one with $22,000, and a third smaller one with about $5,000. He had been hiding money for years, moving it little by little into accounts I did not know about. The total was over $114,000 that he had hidden from me. The judge was not happy at all. There was a hearing in March. We all had to appear in front of the judge, me and Rebecca on one side, Mark and his lawyer Richard on the other. The judge was a woman in her 60s named Judge Martinez. She looked like someone's sweet grandmother, but Rebecca had warned me she was tough as nails. Judge Martinez read through all the evidence, the bank statements, the emails, the text messages, everything. Then she looked at Mark. Mr. Harrison, she said. Did you or did you not open multiple bank accounts without your wife's knowledge during your marriage? Mark's lawyer started to answer, but the judge held up her hand. I asked Mr. Harrison, she said. Mark looked miserable. Yes, he said quietly. I did. And did you or did you not transfer marital funds into these secret accounts over a period of approximately 2 years? Yes, Mark said. And did you or did you not use marital funds to make a down payment on a property without your wife's knowledge or consent? Yes, Mark admitted. Judge Martinez nodded. She made some notes. Then she looked at Mark's lawyer. Mr. Cohen, she said, your client has admitted to hiding marital assets. He has admitted to financial fraud. I do not care what explanation he has. This is unacceptable behavior and this court does not look kindly on it. She turned to Rebecca. Ms. Chin Chen, I am granting your motion for full disclosure. Mr. Harrison will provide documentation for all accounts and all assets within 2 weeks. I am also ordering that all accounts be frozen pending the final division of assets. She looked back at Mark. Mr. Harrison, you are very lucky your wife is only seeking a divorce. In some jurisdictions, what you did would be criminal. I suggest you cooperate fully with discovery and hope that Mrs. Harrison is more generous in the settlement than you deserve. Court was adjourned. Rebecca was thrilled. We basically got everything we asked for, she told me as we walked out. Mark looked destroyed. He tried to approach me in the hallway, but Rebecca blocked him. Over the next few months, Mark's lawyer tried everything to reduce what Mark would have to pay. They argued that some of the accounts were his separate property. They argued that I was not entitled to half the condo because I had not contributed to the down payment. Rebecca shot down every argument. The money in those accounts came from income earned during the marriage. That makes it marital property regardless of whose name is on the account. The down payment for the condo came from the secret accounts, which were funded with marital money. Therefore, the condo is a marital asset. The forensic accountant backed up everything Rebecca said. We went back to court in June for the final hearing. Judge Martinez reviewed everything one more time. Then she made her ruling. All marital assets would be split 50-50. That included the house, both our retirement accounts, the joint savings, and all the money in the secret accounts. The condo would be sold and the proceeds split 50-50. But then Judge Martinez added something else. Due to Mr. Harrison's deliberate concealment of assets and his pattern of financial fraud, I am also ordering that he pay Mrs. Harrison's legal fees in full. Additionally, I am ordering a penalty of $15,000 to be paid to Mrs. Harrison for the time and emotional distress caused by his deceptive behavior. Mark looked like he might pass out. His lawyer tried to object, but Judge Martinez shut him down. My ruling is final, she said. Mr. Harrison is lucky this is all I am ordering. When everything was calculated, I ended up with the house, half of all the retirement money, half of everything in all the accounts, half the value of the condo, plus the $15,000 penalty, plus Mark having to pay my legal fees, which totaled almost $30,000. In total, I walked away with about $340,000, plus the house, which was now fully in my name. Mark got his half of the retirement accounts and his half of the remaining assets after everything was divided. But after paying my legal fees and the penalty, he ended up with much less than he thought he would get. And throughout all of this, Jennifer dumped him. She found out he was not as rich as she thought. Found out he was losing money in the divorce. Found out about the penalties and the legal fees. And she decided she was not interested anymore. She sent him a text breaking up with him. I know this because during discovery we got access to Mark's phone records and that text was in there. She literally texted him that she thought he was successful and had his life together, but clearly he was a mess and she did not need that kind of drama. She broke up with him by text. After 2 years. After he destroyed his marriage for her. Mark tried reaching out to me a few times after the divorce was finalized. Emails saying he was sorry. Letters in the mail. Even flowers delivered to my house once. I threw the flowers in the trash. I deleted the emails. I returned the letters unopened. I do not want his apologies. I do not want his explanations. I do not want anything from him. The divorce was finalized in August, almost exactly 9 months after I found that box in the attic. I am 33 now, single, living in my house that is paid off and fully in my name. Last month I booked a trip to Italy, 3 weeks in Tuscany, something I always wanted to do but Mark always said we could not afford. Turns out we could afford it just fine. He just did not want to spend the money on me. He was saving it for Jennifer. So now I am spending it on myself. I quit my teaching job. I am taking a year off to figure out what I really want to do. Maybe I will go back to teaching. Maybe I will do something completely different. I have enough money saved now that I can take my time and figure it out. I joined a gym. I started therapy. I reconnected with old friends I had lost touch with over the years. I am rebuilding my life. And honestly, I am happier now than I was in the last few years of my marriage. Sometimes I doctor past Mark's new apartment. He lives in a small one-bedroom on the other side of town. His car is usually there. He is probably working extra hours to pay off all his legal debts. I know it is petty, but it makes me feel good to see him struggling after what he did. He destroyed my trust. He destroyed my marriage. He tried to destroy my financial security, but he failed. I am thriving and he is barely surviving. And that feels like justice. A few weeks ago, I ran into Tyler, Mark's friend. The one he was texting about how clueless I was. He was at the grocery store. He saw me and looked like he wanted to turn around and leave, but I walked right up to him. "Tyler," I said. "Sarah?" he said nervously. "How are you?" "I am great," I said. "Really great, actually. How is Mark doing?" Tyler shifted uncomfortably. "He is okay, I guess. I have not really talked to him much lately." "That is interesting," I said. "You two used to be so close, sharing all his secrets about how he was going to screw over his clueless wife." Tyler's face went red. "Sarah, I did not. I mean, I never thought." "You never thought I would find out?" I asked. "You never thought he would get caught? Or you never thought about how wrong it was?" Tyler did not answer. "You knew what he was doing," I said. "You knew he was cheating. You knew he was hiding money. You knew he was planning to ambush me. And you said nothing. You helped him. You encouraged him." "I am sorry," Tyler muttered. "No, you are not," I said. "You are just sorry you got caught. Just like Mark." I walked away and left him standing there. I do not have time for people like that anymore. People who lie, people who cheat, people who help other people destroy their families. I am building a new life, a better life, surrounded by people who actually care about me. My parents have been amazing through all this. When I finally told them what happened, my dad wanted to go to Mark's apartment and punch him in the face. My mom had to physically stop him. My sister Katie has been my rock. She let me stay with her for 3 months while the divorce was going through. She never once complained. She just supported me. My friends rallied around me. My co-worker Jen organized a girls' night every Friday for months, just to make sure I was not alone. I realized during this whole thing that I have amazing people in my life. People who actually love me and care about me. Mark was not one of those people. I thought he was. But he was not. And I am better off without him. So if you made it this far in my story, here is what I want you to take away from this. Trust your gut. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Do not ignore the signs. I ignored so many signs that Mark was unhappy and pulling away. I told myself it was normal. It was not normal. Protect yourself. Always know what is going on with your finances. Joint accounts are fine, but know what is in them. Know where the money is going. And if you do find out your partner is betraying you, do not confront them immediately. Document everything first. Build your case. Talk to a lawyer. Then strike when you are ready. Mark thought he was so smart. He thought he had the perfect plan. He was going to walk away with half of everything and a new girlfriend, and I would be left confused and broke. But he underestimated me. He thought I was weak and clueless. But I am not. I am strong. I am smart. And I was not going to let him destroy me, so I destroyed him instead. And I do not feel bad about it. Not even a little bit. He made his choices. He lied. He cheated. He stole. He tried to ruin my life. And he paid the price for it. Now I am living my best life, and he is living with the consequences of his actions. And that is exactly how it should be. So to anyone out there going through something similar, hang in there. Document everything. Get a good lawyer. Fight back. You deserve better than someone who lies to you and betrays you. And you can come out the other side stronger than you were before. I did. And if I can do it, so can you.